It is a battle adult women continue to face because it is not a skill that they have honed because of the society and the socialization.
JYTV News. Keep watching JYTV. Everything you need to know.
Now, even before you marry, because even during marriage, you need to be able to negotiate sex with your partner. What do I mean about negotiating sex? A self-aware woman would know how to say no and mean no. And I'm saying that it is not a battle young women alone face. It is a battle adult women continue to face because it is not a skill that they have honed because of the society and the socialization. So education alone does not solve the problem of exercising your sexual agency. It is also to even know how to negotiate with your husband how many children you want to have. It is understanding that the decisions about how many kids to have is not only made by men, but these are all skills you need to know, to learn, to exercise. Now, I always tell young people that when you are young, that is when you have to begin to learn, especially as a young girl, how to say no. We have not been socialized to say no because as a woman, you're expected to be present all the time and to solve all other people's problems all the time before you think about your own problems. So one thing I want you to learn today is to say no. In fact, from here, anybody you see, even before the person speaks, just say no. Turn to your neighbor and say no. Turn to your neighbor and say no. Say no. Say no. I want you to wake up every morning, look in the mirror, and say, no, not today. Please, do you hear me? Don't joke about it. It is very important. And I'm telling you, as a woman, a mother of 4 children, who still finds herself sometimes unable to say no to the demands on my time, to the demands from family, to the demands from people I don't know, to the demands of even my husband. So you have to learn to say no with reason, no with explanation, sometimes no without any explanation, just plain no. If you're able to do that in the everyday aspects of your life, when it comes to the actions that can actually change your life path and trajectory, you will be able to assert yourself. And sex is an action that can truly change the life path of every young woman who is not ready to be a mother, because children have no business having children. That is also a fact. And so learn how to say no for the small things so that when it comes to the big things that can destroy your life, change the trajectory of your life, you are able to say no. Because like doctor said, it is you who would bear the evidence of the action taken between 2 people in secret. You will bear the pregnancy. You will be saddled with a child you're not ready to care for. You will be saddled with another human being that even you, in all of your confusion and inexperience, is expected to be present for. So childbearing is not a business for those who are not ready for that business. Okay? This afternoon, I also want to explore the theme of identity. And to do that, I want to make some clarifications and assumptions, because I'm told to speak on reimagining the future for today's woman, and this is supposed to be the Zongo dialogue. So I asked myself, Zongo, who do we mean when we say the Zongo woman? I think for the purposes of this presentation, the Zongo woman is your Muslim woman. even though we know that our Zongo communities are not only inhabited by Muslims, not so. They are inhabited by people from different walks of lives, different faith and religious persuasions, and different ethnic groups. The Zongo communities are more complex than just a linear description of who we are. And that complexity is also the nature of the challenges that the communities themselves face, and the individuals who live, were born, who live and work in the communities also face. For my presentation, I'm going to expand the audience of this speech to include also young Muslim women from many of our northern and upper regions, because the reality is very similar. There is underrepresentation in all aspects of our national life from Muslim women and from northern women. So for northern women, it's not only just Muslim northern women, but just northern young girls growing. So this message is really to all of us. Identity is very key. Yesterday, I'm going to share a personal example. Many of you know that I've embraced for a long time now my full hijab. I do it not because it's the most convenient thing to do on a daily basis, trying to find the right veils to match, trying to find the right outfits. I do it because I am fully bought on the idea that it has been one of the single most differentiated aspects of my life. One that has brought me untold blessings that I cannot even begin to count. And I'm not going to hide that from you as young Muslim women. Yesterday, I was to moderate a program that the president was having with business people. And when I finished dressing up, the lady who held me with my scarf, it looked so beautiful without the veil. And everybody was like, oh, just put the veil on your shoulder, because the scarf was really beautiful anyway, and my dress was very modest and beautiful. And I was going to do that. And somehow I told her, okay, just put the veil on. Let me see how I would look also with the veil. And she put the veil on. And I thought I looked even more beautiful with the veil than with the scarf. So yesterday, I go into the hall of about 200 people from all walks of life, businessmen, businesswomen, some Muslim women, and some Muslim women also in the hall. I was the only woman with a veil on in that room. It is significant that the stories we tell ourselves reflects who we are. Because when we speak about representation, there's a saying that until the lions tell their story, tales of hunting will always do what? Glorify the hunter. Until we begin to tell our stories, you see how beautiful we are here. If I moved you to different spaces, you'll find yourself as a minority. But what does it even mean to be in a minority that you feel pressured to look like the dominant picture? Because we're in a society where Muslim women are pressured to look like the dominant image. And even with that, we refuse to see our contribution to the evolution of even fashion, our contribution to the evolution of Ghana's culinary, process and even taste. We refuse to see the contribution of the Zongo woman to the development of this country. I've seen many awards programs, women entrepreneurs, and they would list 100 women entrepreneurs. There will be no single image in that picture of 100 women entrepreneurs in Ghana that represents the image we know of a Muslim woman. What is that image, please? What is that image, please? What is that image, please? We are definitely more than our hijabs, right? But I'm saying that when you talk about inclusion and representation, you are not only including and representing voices, which is important, gender, which we have been fighting for, that increase the representation of women. So if we all lined up and we all looked alike, would you be able to differentiate who is a woman and who is a man if image was not important? Please, will you be able? Because if I dress, and right now men dress like women, isn't it? So if we say we want female representation, and a man who has dressed like a woman joins the lineup of women, would you be able to make a differentiation between who is a woman and who is not a woman? So image matters, and representing who you are matters. It is not only just in the books and taking a box that we have 10 women, we have 10 men, or we are a diversity organization, so we have employed people from different parts of, the country and ethnic groups. A picture tells what? A picture tells what? I can't hear you. A picture tells 1,000 stories. Repeat that after me. A picture tells 1,000 stories. We make conclusions only on images without ever having an opportunity to ask. So when you see pictures, you already make your conclusions based on what you see. So people say that attitude is important, your image is important, because whether you like it or not, people will make their biases or their judgments about a situation first with what they see, even before what they hear, even before what they know. Sometimes, even with what they know, they will still make judgments with what they see. So people would look at me and say, oh, you don't look like a Muslim. How should a Muslim look? I'm sure some of us, you don't speak like a Northerner. How should a Northerner speak? And if you pry deeper, they don't say that out of goodwill. They say that out of certain negative notions they have about how a Muslim behaves or how a Northerner speaks. Please, do you understand? It is not their fault. It's the socialization. It is bias. Sometimes it's unconscious. Sometimes it is conscious. So let nobody deceive you into thinking that representation through image does not matter. Because when you want to tell the story of who you are, you must show also who you are. So that when you're making a case for your absence around the table, the picture speaks more than the words you can ever speak. And embracing your identity is one of the difficult things to do. But it is one of the greatest things that liberates you. Because your mind is clear. You are not on a daily basis burdened by, do I belong? Do I look the part? In your difference is your agency. So if you need to look like who you are, look like who you are. But present yourself in a way that is empowering, that is respectful, that, generates respect for you and generates acceptance from you, because again, you are more than how you look. But how you look is a window to what more you can contribute to. And in a society that is very discriminative, you must prove who you are. But to prove that, sometimes you must accept the image you need to present. I also make this statement that when I was to start television, I knew that it was going to be a huge responsibility on my shoulders, because it didn't help that my name was Shamima Muslim. And so when people hear Muslim, especially our Muslim communities and our imams and the Muslim Ummah, they would expect a certain representation of, Muslim on TV. So I spoke to the MD of Metro Television at the time that if I'm going to do, I was not covering fully, and that's the truth of the matter. But I will cover on Fridays, throughout Ramadan I'll cover, but I was not a full hijabi then. So I told him that if I'm coming to go on TV, then I would want to embrace full hijab. And he's a Muslim, though. But they came back to say that no, the program was a secular program and, they don't want to encourage. I didn't know what that means, because if we say we're a country where there should be non-discrimination on the basis of your faith, that's your religion, your culture, why should it be a problem if I wanted to come on television with a veil on? Because it is an intrinsic part of my identity. Cut the long story short, I was not allowed to come on TV with the veil. So I had to have a sit down with my father. What's the implication? Because he also thought that if I was going to do TV, I should come on. But I said, well, I haven't seen Muslim women do these kinds of programs before, so maybe it is time for me to make a case that we have the capacity to do it, then prove myself. And after I make my name, I can behave and wear whatever I want to wear, because nobody then would question my capacity or competence to deliver. And sometimes when you do things with the right intent and motive, with the right niyat, know that Allah Himself will elevate you. And all of you today know that because of that singular decision, many young Muslim voices and ladies have gone into the field of journalism because all of a sudden they saw somebody with a shared experience as them on air, on radio, speaking politics, speaking current affairs, and I think that a lot of new stories emerged from that particular decision. But I'll tell you that even after I justified myself and I went off after I had my children, I went off the media for like a decade. In the time that I was home caring for my children and doing other things, I got a call from one major TV station in Accra. And that TV station, they wanted me to come and start a new Saturday current affairs. At that time, I had embraced hijab fully. So I said, well, now I do full hijab. So if that will be a problem, I can do it. They said, oh, it won't be a problem. After several meetings, after contracts were exchanged, I was called again into a discussion with the CEO of this media house. And the question was, will I reconsider my stance on wearing a veil? I said, I thought we had even crossed. This is after I had hosted Eyewitness News and made Eyewitness News the #1 top news current affairs program, an award-winning program. After I had proved my competence, still, there were these barriers within our society. So guess what? They were not happy for me to do the program, even when I made a compromise that if it meant just even scarfing without a veil, I'd make that compromise. It was not accepted. Today, I'm happy to announce that that TV station today have Muslim women who are at least allowed to scarf on their screens. That is progress. Progress will not be transformational. It will take you and I making tiny sacrificial steps and pushing the boundaries for it to become the norm, that you're accepted in whoever you are and you are accepted into various platforms and you are able to contribute more than just your image, and that your image should not be a barrier to your participation. And I've almost done half of the speech, so now I don't know which part of the speech to start from. Okay, so I'm going to pick a few things because I thought that it is important to think through some of the things about reimagining. So what future do we want to reimagine? To reimagine the future is to recognize that there is unfinished business with present battles. All of us are going through these present battles, and there is unfinished business. It means questioning the systems and the social scripts that have marginalized we as women, particularly women in the Zongo community. So I was telling a story earlier about seeing pictures of women entrepreneurs with no representation of some of our Zongo women entrepreneurs. These are women whose net worth, in the images I see on some of these, programs, one Zongo woman business net worth is more than 10 of the females on those people combined. Do we not know that? Do we not know the business acumen of a lot of our Zongo women who are actually dollar millionaires? I'm not even kidding. Most of you know that. Go to Makola and look for the Zongo women, market women who own multiple shops, who travel to China and Dubai like on a weekly basis. Please, if I'm lying, say I'm lying. Am I lying? Do you not know of these women? Is it because they don't fit the image of who an entrepreneur is? How many of us in this room come from families where our mothers were the primary providers in that family through their vocations and trade? Please raise your hand. Please raise your hand. If your mother traded to contribute to the home, she was a market woman, she sold things, she sold food. How many of us come from families where they sell cocoa, Hausa cocoa in that family? Please show me. Wache. Wache. What else? Huh? TZ. Show me. TZ. What are the popular foods today in Ghana? I'm talking national. What are the popular foods? Wache. What food do people like to take in the morning? You see long queues. What? Cocoa and what? Cocoa and kose, add the kose. How many of your Christian friends have not asked you for this, your Zongo stew? Please, how many people haven't asked you to give them the what? The recipe for Zongo stew? If I'm lying, tell me I'm lying. Do we not know the value of these things? That the Zongo woman has actually contributed more to redefining Ghana's culinary experience than any other ethnic group, and that is a fact. How then can we not be empowered by the value that sits in the minds and the hands of the average Zongo woman? You've even forgotten to add sobolo. Before they discovered sobolo, we were drinking sobolo in our homes. Have you forgotten tankwambia? Oh, Burkina. You've forgotten Burkina? Right now, when we go to many functions, and there's masa. In fact, and even now, wasa wasa. Wasa wasa is coming back into the system. Tubani is coming back into the system. Aboki. Who are the people who make aboki? Are they not in the Zongo communities? I'm saying that if we care to look deeply, we have no rights in thinking ourselves as imposters to claim the spaces that are rightfully ours, spaces that we're already contributing to, that we are not aware of the impact we are making to the society we live in. Spaces that we allow for others to come and monetize and use to create, because I know people who they've prepared cocoa at a small scale for like 30 years. The business of the family is cocoa. So the question is, which of you is going to move this business from a medium to small scale enterprise to a big business? Is it an outsider who will now take it? Let's go to the north. Shea butter. Have you seen the industry around shea butter? Who are the shea butter pickers? Please, who are the shea butter pickers? They are women who pick these shea butter, who manually, and you see, all of these delicacies, they are not made within 1 second or 1 hour. You know that. All of these recipes for these delicacies take hard work to make Hausa cocoa, to make kose, to make wache. They wake up at dawn. So can we ever say it is because of laziness that the Zongo woman continues to be underrepresented in our society? Can you say that in all fairness and justice? Can you say that it is because she has not gone to school? Our mothers and grandmothers who can cook a whole pot of stew without measuring any single ingredient on a scale. You think that woman doesn't know math because she didn't sit in the classroom to learn math? Please, am I lying? That woman who makes a whole pot of beans to do kose, and everything will be pepper. She will not taste the salt. She will not taste the... Because this is what skill is about. You don't learn skill in classroom. You learn skill through persistent practice. Practicing something for so many hours, so many days, so many years, that even in your sleep moment, you can easily prepare that thing. And you believe that these women don't have anything to offer to our community, and that we, the young women who are coming from these families, we shouldn't walk with our shoulders high, not because there's anything wrong with our shoulders, but we come from a family of resilient women, hardworking women, brilliant women, women who create from nothing, women who have sustained families, women who have been burdened, and yet their burdens have never broken their back. If we fail ourselves, we will not only have failed ourselves, but we would fail the sacrifices of the women before us. And we must not do that. So it is to reimagine this new world and new future for the Zongo woman. We must acknowledge that true empowerment cannot come from token gestures or seasonal interventions. That our Zongo women are innovators, are we? Yes. That they are educators, are they? Yes. That they are caregivers, are they? Yes. And that they are entrepreneurs. Do I lie? Yes. Do I lie? They are cultural custodians and the unsung engines of our informal economy. Atakbir. Atakbir. Yet, their contributions often go unnoticed, unrecorded, unrewarded. To reimagine their future is to design a new architecture of opportunity that reflects their lived realities, talents, and dreams. It means people who organize programs must go beyond the boundary of what they consider to be legitimacy, to invite others who have shown proof over years of having and needing to be at those tables, and they must be recognized for that. It requires that we challenge the status quo. Mind you, I'm going to give you a bit of tough love. No one owes you anything, right? Say it again. No one owes you what? Anything. No one owes you what? Anything. Nobody owes you anything. Because life and power is a contested space. We can advocate. You see, even human rights, the constitutional rights. If you read the Constitution of Ghana, we have so many rights. Do we enjoy all of those rights? So, mind you, when you find yourself in a certain position that you feel you are enjoying a certain right, know that it is a privilege. It is a what? It is a what? Even the rights that are enshrined, that are not supposed to be privileged, are enjoyed by the privileged few. So if the Constitution says every child must be in school, it's a right, not so. But when we come to our communities, the schools don't exist. So how are they supposed to be in school? When we go to some of these northern communities, they are supposed to learn ICT. And there is not a single computer in that school. So the person who is sitting in an Accra school and has an entire computer laboratory, is that person not privileged? Even though all of you are supposed to be, having the same rights? So I'm saying that the system is sometimes rigged. And you cannot continue to sit, lament, feel sorry for yourself when you are made up of sterner stuff. You raise yourself up and you make yourself matter. You do what? You do what? You do the best with the little that is available to you and ensure that your best becomes enough. And as we have seen by stories of people within our community, where we come from has not been a limiting factor in how far we can go if we are willing to go far and we are willing to put in the hard work. Attack deal. So it requires that we challenge the status quo. For history has shown us that the greatest leaps in human progress have come from when we dared to dream differently. Reimagining is not simply daydreaming. You don't sit and every day go through the images, social media, you're looking at lifestyles that you want to be, you're following people, you're watching TikTok videos, you're feeling jealous, you're feeling inadequate because of all the make-believe stories we are seeing. What are you waiting for? You to go and create the content, eh? Is it not a human being you're seeing in that you are consuming and you're giving them visibility, and now you're feeling sad for yourself and you're even feeling depressed that you don't look like a certain image, you don't look as beautiful, you don't have the same kind of body. If you want an hourglass figure, go and also do the training. Eh? Don't they do, I didn't say go and do surgery, but go and also put in the hard work. Do you get what I mean? And stop lamenting and feeling sorry for yourself, because feeling sorry for yourself never changes anybody's situation. It is action changes things. Action does what? Changes things. So if you're in school, your number one priority is not to be thinking about boys and how you're looking and whatever. Your number one priority is actually to concentrate on your studies and make sure you pass enough to move on to the next level. So it requires that we challenge the status quo, as I said earlier. A bird does not sing because it has an answer. It sings because it has a song. And our women, we have songs, don't we? Our mothers sing so many songs even as they labor under the hot scorching sun or in the rain. They sing so many songs of upliftment. They even sing songs to annoy their rivals, but they have songs to sing, and they do sing those songs. So find your song. They sing songs of resilience, they sing songs of defiance, they sing songs of overcoming great odds, and they sing songs of purpose. We must ask ourselves, therefore, how many potential Nobel laureates? Do you know who a Nobel laureate is? Do you know who a Nobel laureate is? How many of you have phones? How many of you have phones? Please show by hands. You have phones? So you're going to Google who a Nobel laureate is. I'm not going to tell you who a Nobel laureate is. You hear me? So instead of buying data and looking at some new dance, TikTok dance craze, you're going to look for who and what is. Who, and if you can't spell it, ask your neighbor to spell it for you, okay? The world's next great solutions may lie in the mind of a young girl in Fadama, Nima, or Asawase, but only if we reimagine an enabling ecosystem around her. Let us then give them the stage, give them the microphone and the amplification they deserve, not as charity, but as justice, not as an exception, but as the norm, not as a favor, but as indeed a claimed birthright. So to do this, we must be honest that there are still barriers we must break. We must confront the uncomfortable truths, not to dwell in despair, but to know that we need to work hard to overcome these barriers. We must gather the wisdom needed for this transformation. Girls in our under-deprived communities still face inequalities in access to quality education, as I referenced earlier. They need digital tools like their counterparts in most of the endowed communities and schools. They need to navigate patriarchal expectations about the role of a girl in the home, in the family, in the community. And they need to learn in silence when they should be debating in confidence. So we must break this silence, and girls must debate in confidence. Women remain vastly underrepresented in leadership positions. As you can see, you can literally count the number of Zongo women in any political government or any national position. From politics to corporate boards, local councils, we are underrepresented. Their ideas are too often undervalued, which means there is space, a new opportunity to make yourself a difference and also to break new boundaries and make yourself the first Zongo woman to do this, to do that, to do that. So their ideas are often undervalued, their labor underpaid or unpaid. So we do all that work to prepare cocoa, and when you come and we say cocoa is 5 cedis, how can you even value the labor that goes into preparing cocoa for 5 cedis per cup? How is that even fair? When others are working and being paid on an hourly basis. And yet without the food, those who sit in the offices, would they have the energy to think? Please, without the food, would they have the energy to think? Economic mobility remains a mirage for too many who labor tirelessly in informal sectors and with little social protection and recognition. And this is where government programs that target small to medium-scale enterprises, and I'm happy to announce that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, through the Ejumawa Initiative, the National Apprenticeship Program, even the 1 Million Coders Program, provide relevant opportunities for the young Muslim woman to take charge of her destiny. But I would like to add that perhaps the most stubborn barriers are the invisible ones, the one we make for ourselves that hold us back, those voices that speak to us. It makes us doubt ourselves and doubt our abilities. The voices that hold us back and tell us that we are imposters. We don't deserve to be in these spaces. We can't be in these spaces. We cannot look like this and be deemed to be someone who understands or is fashion forward. And yet, it is the same societies that today embrace the apparel of abayas. You've seen the abaya craze that is happening beyond our Zongo communities. You've seen the, what did they call the one that we put on the head? The turbans. Have you seen everybody is wearing turbans? Am I right? Please, am I lying? Am I lying? Turbans have become a fashion-forward item for people who wear turbans to church. Where is the inspiration from? We visit Muslim countries and we literally drool over the wives and the women of these Arab nations and how they look so beautiful and exquisite in the same abayas. In the same abayas. And these are the communities that have created that the world goes to visit. It means we haven't used our minds enough to re-engineer better communities. So that when you come, Muslim communities and Muslim countries that are like, we see them, well-advanced, beautiful, creativity, ingenuity, intelligence. You know, there's kind of like a nexus between faith and religion and their resources and what they've been able to achieve. They push the boundary of the human mind. They'll be able to bring any talent from across the world to create things within these same Muslim communities and Muslim countries outside of our borders. So we must ask ourselves, it definitely cannot be Islam. That is the reason why our communities are the way that they are. Please, if we do that, we are being unjust to Islam. Because we have examples of what other Muslim countries have been able to achieve. Not so. So if our Muslim communities are not reflecting the true values of Islam, can we blame the religion Islam? We cannot. if our communities are dirty, if our gutters are choked, if our valleys have become corrupted, if today we are speaking about drug abuse in Zongo and inner cities, can we blame Islam? We cannot. But we can become the perfect exemplars of what Islam is supposed to be, so that we will not be part of those that give Islam a bad name and our Zongo communities a bad name, irrespective of the valuable contributions they continue to make to our economy. So yes, we must break the invisible barriers. They live in the language, in our language that we make within ourselves, in our traditions, in our unconscious biases. They tell the girl, don't speak too loud, don't dream too big. Don't go to school too much, you may not get a husband to marry. That's not a woman's place. These are all inherited beliefs that there is ample evidence no longer hold sway. And the only thing that holds you back is your own internal compass. Because today, we have husbands that are amplifying their women. I am married with 4 children. My husband supports my political career. It wouldn't have been the case for many Muslim women. And so, exercise patience. Don't be in a rush to marry at 20, 21 if a husband is not coming. And whilst you wait for the husband to come, please add value to yourself. Because value will attract value. As you add value to yourself, God and Allah himself will bring you the man that will match your energy, that will match your ambition, that will match your dreams, that will be an enabler for you and not a disempowerer, all if you have firm faith and you do the right things today. So let's do that. So again, as it is said, the chains that are the hardest to break are the ones that you cannot see, but they are the ones that you make for yourself. Let's break these barriers. And to break these barriers, we need more than policy, and I agree. We need courage. And courage is the most important of all virtues, as I ever read. Because to practice any other virtue consistently, you need courage. Please, do you hear me? Of all the virtues you might want, it is the courage that is the most important. Because without the courage, you will not act. Without courage, when you face your first setback, you will recoil into your shell. Without courage, when the arrows are thrown at you, without courage, I would have gone back to home when I stuck my head out that I was going to do politics. Because boy, did the attacks not come from all kinds of quarters. And they still come up to date. So because of some misguided social media young person who, if he sees me today, he cannot even approach me, I should turn my back to my destiny, right? No, please, answer me that question. My mother says that if you are walking, is it written on your back that this stupid person has insulted you this language? Is it written on your back? So I'm saying that without courage, when the challenges come, as they will come, because life can never be a smooth path. So practice courage. Again, it is courage that will help you say no and mean it. Remember that we are going to start learning how to say no? Yeah, we're going to learn how to say what? No. Without courage, can you say this no? You have followed your boyfriend to his house. He didn't put any chair in the room. He says, come and sit on the bed. Then he gives you a drink. Then you also drink. Then you say, oh, this kebab is nice. Then you say, you're looking pretty. So, oh, stop it. Then now when he said, oh, let me see your leg. Oh, no, it's haram. Haram, eh? What haram took you there in the first place? So even then, if he has bought you the mawako you asked for, the shawarma you asked for, even then, when he says it is time to pay, say what? No. If you are not ready, say what? No. If you are not ready, say what? No. But if you can, avoid the temptation. okay, if you can avoid the temptation. So yes, we would exercise courage to deal with these barriers. But hear me also clearly that the days of waiting for permission to rise should be behind us. The question is not can she, the question is who will stop her? Who will stop you? Who will stop you? Who will stop you? Yourself? Yourself? You will stop yourself. I can't hear you. Even you don't believe that you cannot stop yourself. You will stop yourself? Will you stop yourself? So who will stop you? Thank you. Today, the Zongo girl is that seed. With the right nourishment, opportunity, mentorship, policy support, she will grow tall enough to shape generations to come. She does not need saving. She needs space and encouragement to rise. She needs the right nourishment, the right opportunity, and the right policy support. She will grow tall enough yet again to shape generations. But you need strategy and you need intent. So to move from policy to poetry to policy, from slogans, as we have shared some this afternoon, to systems, we need to do more. We have to now act and implement. So all of you go back home, you take your diaries. If you don't have, take a book and reimagine your future from today. Reimagine what you want to become, what you need to do to become it, what skills you need, what attitudes you need, what traits and habits you have today that you yourself can tell yourself that this habit, it will not help me. This trait, it will not help me where I want to go. If I continue on this path, I will not get there. These dialogues I cannot have for you. You must have it for yourselves. And you must actually write them down and begin to monitor yourself. If you need an accountability partner, a friend of yours, a sister of yours that you share the same vision with, let that person be your accountability partner, because it is not an easy road to success. And sometimes you will falter. So in those moments where you become disillusioned with the burdens and the challenges, you should have someone who tells you that, Hafisa, rise up again. Let's go tomorrow. Perhaps tomorrow will be better than today. So you need strategy, and you need intent, and you need to act deliberately and intentionally. You need to build partnerships, because this future cannot be built by women alone, and I must agree. It requires the collective effort of a society that understands that gender equity is not a woman's issue. It is a human imperative, and that true progress is what? Collaborative. It cannot be forged in isolation. We need allies, and our first allies must be our male allies. They must understand the men in our lives, our fathers, our brothers, our uncles, but most especially our husbands and our future partners. They must understand the need to support our dreams if we're to advance humanity. Partnership means ensuring that the voices from boardrooms to backyard compounds sing in harmony towards this shared vision. It means that NGOs do not work in silos, that ministries do not build castles in the air, but the private sector also does not pursue profits without what? Purpose. Public-private partnerships must also be more meaningful than memoranda. They must be measurable, mission-driven, and they must actually ease the struggles of the women they purport to support. What is our charge this afternoon to Zongo women? To the young woman who is coding her future in a cyber cafe in Medina, wondering if the world would ever take you seriously, keep doing what? Coding. Keep doing what? Your time will come. You're not waiting to be invited to the table. You're learning to build your own. To the mother, many of us are mothers, and we know how it feels. Raising 3 children or more while running a market stall in Sabon Zongo. Your hustle is not invincible. It is not unrewarded. It will be recognized. Your hustle is the heartbeat of your community, and you must be proud of that valuable contribution you continue to make for the sustenance of your community. You are not just balancing accounts, you are actually balancing stomachs and balancing destinies. That is so important. To the girl who dreams of parliament, from the classroom of Abuabo, dream louder, dream bigger, and dream unapologetically, because that parliamentary seat is certainly waiting for you. Because, repeat that together, when the roots are deep, there is no reason to fear when the roots are, there is no reason to, and our roots are deep. Our roots are deep. Our roots are deep. We will not fear the wind. I thank you so much for your kind attention.
JYTV News. Keep watching JYTV. Everything you need to know.